Peace. What's happening, good people? This gift here for Pay Us No Mind. And today, man, we just going over real quick just this Tunecore Distrokid thing, because if you haven't noticed, or if you don't know, Tunecore made a major announcement. They changed their pricing. I did a video of it. If you haven't caught the video, make sure you check it, man. Watch that video because it goes more in detail about their pricing change. And I'm probably going to do like an update of all my digital distribution videos soon. But I just wanted to go over real quick how this Tunecore news kind of like changes that Distrokid debate. Because it's like a lot of times, man, artists have been saying for a long time, Distrokid, Distrokid, Distrokid. You hear a lot of that on YouTube. And I've always felt like Distrokid was a subpar distributor, you know, not bad in the sense that they were going to take people's money away or not do what people were paying them to do, but just from the standpoint that, you know, they didn't get your music into stores, an amount of stores that were comparable to a Tunecore or a CD Baby or anything like that, and they had a lot of extra fees and things of that nature. That kind of was like, nah, to Distrokid for me. But ultimately, what people liked most about it was the price. They would say $20 a year for unlimited distribution. People say, hey, you can't beat that. So they would use it over a CD Baby because they take that 9%, plus you got to pay per release, or a Tunecore because you got to pay an annual fee for, or had to pay an annual fee for every release. So that's what turned people off about it. But it always was a better distributor. But now with this new pricing change and, you know, $15 a year for unlimited distribution, we're going to take a look at how it kind of like stacks up to Distrokid. And this is a quick run through of it. I'm not going too in detail. I'll save that for like a video comparison or something like that. But there's just like certain things that I wanted to kind of like dive into. So let me pull this up. First off, let's look at this, right? Let's go and see. These pricing changes. I mean, everybody got their nonsense with them. Some more than others, though. Right? So it's like, looking at this stuff, I can say, okay, you know, Tunecore, what I want to go to is their pricing. And you see the different tiers that they got here. This $15 a year tier. This is like what most artists are going to shift to for people who are like by themselves. You know, you're just releasing music for yourself. They have this professional plan, which I initially understood to be unlimited for an unlimited number of artists, which would have been great. You know, because that's where it would have made the most sense. Unlimited distribution for an unlimited number of artists. But there, you have to pay an additional $15 for every new artist that you add. But we'll see how that also compares to something like Distrokid as well. But you see all of this stuff, you know, official artist channel, all of that's cool. 100% of your revenue you keep, okay. The thing here is to look at that I would say is like, you know, the ability to bring over your own UPC code and also content ID. That's another thing. So we look at that and let's see, content ID, cost per additional artist, all right, promotional opportunities, access and exclusive cover art, use your own, where is it? Artists and revenue splits. That's another thing that they've added now, revenue splits that wasn't there before. Unlimited releases, 100% revenue, artist profile check mark, official sales, YouTube official artist channel, unlimited, oh, social, okay. So yeah, this social thing that they're just taking 80% from. What's different about that is that initially, Tunecore would charge you a $10 one-time fee for content ID. So it would be a $10 one-time fee and then 20% of whatever you make. That's what the fee was initially. So now we look at it and we say, okay, well, checking out Tunecore or Distrokid Pricing. And this is another reason why I just was never a big fan of Distrokid. It's like, it's just so secretive, right? So it's like they're saying $20 a year for unlimited distribution. But unlimited distribution for $20 a year only gets you but so far. It gets you like a very bare bones service. In order to have other things, you have to pay more. But you see, they just have $20 a year here. They don't have those other tiers, you know? So it's like, okay, well, you ain't gonna find out what else you gotta pay and what else you're not getting for that $20 a year price unless you can see those other tiers. And they don't allow you to see those other tiers. You can't see them. There is nowhere on this website that you can see their pricing, like in full. You know, they got all of this crap here, but it's like, okay, frequently asked questions. I will have to go through there. It's just not like a page that says pricing, you know, which is like, okay, you know, if somebody who might feel like, hey, you're reviewing their website or whatever, but this is information that should be provided. So it's like, even when you Google and you say Distrokid Pricing, they got pricing, but that doesn't take you to like the pricing from the standpoint of all of the features, right? Like, let's look at it and see. You click this pricing button. It tells you the price, like you see musician, 1 band, musician plan, musician plus 2 bands. So they're breaking it down from the standpoint of whether you want to distribute for more artists or not, but they're not telling you what features you get at these price points. So they're not telling you that at this $20 a year price point, you can't do, schedule your releases. So you can't like pick a release date at this price point. You can't choose a label name at this price point, you know? So they're being real secretive with what you get for these different price points because they want you to just dive in and say, okay, $20 a year, and then find out all this other stuff and what you can't get once you've already paid, right? So that's something that has always turned me off about them. So it's like a lot of these things. So it's like getting to it, we can look and we can say, okay, well, just from the standpoint of what we can see here and what the pricing is in regards to how many artists you can distribute for. Like if you're a label and you want to distribute for multiple artists, Distrokid would still be cheaper from the standpoint of the initial price point. Like the main price they're charging, $80 a year for 5 artists, they're $139 for 10 artists. So that's cheaper. Now, where it's not so cheap is when you get to here and you get to the point of these features, right? So it's like when you get to these features and you see, okay, well, Distrokid is charging you $5 a year plus 20% of your revenue for YouTube Content ID. And this is an annual fee. So if you're releasing music for multiple artists, this is $5 a year per single for every artist that you release music for. So, you know, you release 10 songs for one artist, that's $5 a year for each of those 10 songs for that one artist. And then another artist, that's another $5 a year for each of the 10 songs for that artist. And on top of a 20% fee that they're taking from you. And then they got this store maximizer thing to get your music automatically added to new stores, which is also an annual fee. Per release, not per year, but per release per year. So it's around $8 for every new release per year to have your music automatically added to new stores. And then they got, you know, this, what's that other feature? What you call it? Yeah, this store maximizer thing. So these fees make it vastly more expensive than Tunecore's professional plan, even with them charging you for each additional artist. So I mean, it still makes out to a better deal than Distrokid. And yeah, man, I mean, there's a lot of new distributors that have popped up, and I'ma just say this, right? Because what I would like is for y'all to kind of give me some insight into what y'all seen. and what your take is on all of this. Like, what distributors have you seen that are providing a better offer? Somebody have brought up and wanted in the comment section, they was talking about where Tunecore did this because they had to do it. They had to, considering all of the competition and everybody coming out with these cheap digital distribution offers. And my reply was that most of the artists that I deal with that have, like, you know, high aspirations and like marketing plans and things like that, like they're trying to do certain things, those artists go with Tunecore. Those artists go with Tunecore because they want a quality service, and Distrokid just doesn't look like a quality service, you know. But I mean, there's more out there than Tunecore and Distrokid, and if y'all have seen something, let me know, because far as I see right now, $15 a year for Tunecore, I don't see anything that can beat it. Now, on top of that, it's just the standpoint that a lot of new distributors that are coming into this space and offering cheaper services and things of that nature, their model just is not something that lends itself to sticking around long term, you know. So it's like a company like Tunecore, which is like owned by like a conglomerate, man, like a major corporation that's behind them. I can look at them and say, hey, they could do this because they've got the financial backing to kind of like keep them propped up, even if they were operating Tunecore at a loss and just collecting the data and selling the data on the back end, they would still be able to pull it off, right? A lot of these new distributors, I can't say that about them, you know. So it's kind of like playing a dangerous game because they could come in and kind of like disappear. And then it's like, well, now your whole situation is in limbo because you don't know, you know, well, damn, now my releases, if they go down, what do I do now? Now I got to find another distributor. And then if you went crazy and kind of like uploaded 20, 30, 100 releases, now you got to move all those releases to a new store. So it can be wild with changing. So my thing was always to kind of like stick with one distributor and finding one distributor that you could say, hey, these are the guys that I want to stick with. And Tunecore has always been a distributor that I've looked at and felt like, okay, well, you could stick with them. You know, this is not something that you're going to graduate out of unless you graduate to like a record deal or something to that effect, right? And one of the main reasons why I like it so much is that, you know, a lot of people don't recognize the fact that advances play a critical role with funding. You know, it's like nobody in this business, I think, really lives off of royalties until they've like recouped the advance they got, like the upfront money they got. When they pay that back and they don't get like another advance, then they're living off of royalties. But for the most part, everybody gets that upfront money, and then when that deal is up, they come back and get more upfront money again. You know what I'm saying? It's like the whole thing with like Drake, and people say, oh, Drake go independent, and he didn't. He just got $400,000 to $400 million to re-up with the record company again, because it's like that upfront money. People want that money in their hand. So it's like an artist could get an advance on streams that might be like $1,000 a year. You get $3,000 up front, and whatever happens that's Tunecore's issue. You got your money up front, and you can take that money and do whatever you need with it. So the advance thing is something that just always was like, yeah, Tunecore, right? And the fact that they've always been like real straightforward with what you need to qualify for that advance. But yeah, I mean, I asked y'all if anything else was out there on the market that y'all saw that y'all felt like, yo, Gift, yeah, man, you should check this out, you ain't aware of, or whatever have you, you know. If not, then it's whatever. But I just wanted to throw that out there. And also, if anybody got questions or whatever have you, feel free to ask, man. You know, I'm here to serve right now, you know, until we end this, because I just wanted to dive on, to just jump on and cover that real quick, right? So it's like, all right, we got a few people in the building. We got Mad Spitter, what's up? We got Clevo Mac. Yeah, and if you in here, man, just jump in the chat, say what's up, man, just so I can shout you out and all that good stuff, man. Right? Frappuccino, what's up? Ayo Dizzy was good. Long distance traveler, my guy, what's up? Jesse Che was good. Musin Thorpe, what's up? Bob Floss, what up? Tabitha was good. Zope Belafonte, what up? What's good to everybody in the room, man? Word, yo. Clevo. He said he just did Tunecore Unlimited, $65 a year, unlimited releases. That's what's up, brother. I wish Tunecore had a permanent upload tier and a video option. I mean, Frappuccino, I mean, the permanent thing is like I told somebody in the comments. It's like the permanent thing is a sticky thing because it's like digital distribution is an ongoing service. So it's like, that's why you see digital distributors will either take a percentage of the revenue that the release generates, or they'll charge an annual fee, right? Because it's like they have to continue to pay for things like storage, you know, data storage, bandwidth, accounting, all of these things, all of that data when you sign into your back end and see the metrics and all of that stuff has to be paid for. It's an ongoing cost. It's not like they can charge you once and then provide the service for you forever without making any more money. You know, that's a customer service is another thing. You know, a lot of times what I see is that artists like to look at things from the standpoint of what's beneficial for them and what's going to work for them, and not so much really recognizing how business works and how businesses stick around and how the people that need to exist for you to be able to do what you need to do need your financial support in order to be around, you know? And this is something that I've covered in previous videos, and that's the fact that this is how artists a lot of times have found themselves without things like venues to perform at and stuff like that, because you got artists that they got the money to pay to come into the venue, to like pay for an open mic or something like that, or pay to support to even see another friend of theirs that's performing, but they don't want to pay. You know, they want to keep their money in their pocket. And it's like, well, you my friend, you know me, I should be able to get in here for free. Why should I have to pay? So it's like, all right, you go and they let you in free and they let the other friend in for free and no money gets made. The venue don't make no money. Everybody is coming with their own beer and alcohol and drinking outside the venue, and they're not buying at the bar. So the venue doesn't make any money. So then either the venue closes down or they stop doing the music night or whatever. And then no bands get to perform and no artists get to perform. And then all the artists are like sitting around like, yo, man, remember when we used to be performing here? That was hot, yo. It was fly to be different. But it's like you didn't support it and keep it around. And that's the same thing that I see with everything, from even you got photographers, videographers, studios, all sorts of stuff. Everybody that kind of like extend themselves and try to be sympathetic toward artists and say, hey, you know, I know how it is. I want to support you. They just get taken advantage of. And artists just come and kind of like squeeze them and use them and, you know, drain them dry and, you know, use the service, pay them pennies, even when they can afford to give them more. And then those things just fall off a cliff, right? Those people end up getting a real job and not being available to do the studio thing anymore because they can't afford to. You know, that guy that used to do your videos for $50, $100, you know, he had to get a job because that wasn't paying his bills. It's like in real life, man, people got lives. People got kids. People got bills to pay, all of these different things. So people can't just be like, okay, well, you're an artist and I understand what it is to be an artist. Let me give you this service for free or super cheap or something like that. Like, it's business, man. And to a great extent, if you can't afford to do business, then you don't do business. And that's kind of the way it works, you know? So yeah, that's my take on that. You can't always just be looking like, why can't they just keep my release up there forever, right? Like, would be great, but it's just not how it works, man. Things cost money, man. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, you know? Musin Thorpe says, Tunecore just destroyed distro-ish. Right? Word. Bob Floss says in August 17, 2023, there will be, all right, this is something else, right? Tabitha, Tunecore just created everything I needed except for the option to pay to have music up forever in case of death. But so happy about this. I mean, the whole thing is to try to do what you can do in life to increase the value of your catalog, because Tunecore will take money from the release that it generates and cover the cost of the subscription. So if the release is generating money, then the release is effectively paying for itself. So that's the whole goal. That's what you're trying to work to. If you get to the point where you pass on and your music isn't doing anything, it's probably not going to be getting discovered or anything like that on those platforms anyway. And I mean, it's not like the music can't exist without digital distribution. There is YouTube, there is SoundCloud, there's all of these different places that you can have your music available for discovery without digital distribution. So it's not a necessity. It's more, hey, I want to sell my music and I want my music to be in these places because these are the places that I feel like is most beneficial to me, but your music can still be available without it. Hey, yo, Dizzy, there are so many young upcoming artists. This is a great draw for Tunecore. Yeah, I mean, this is great because this is a top flight service, and also going back to that advance thing, right? Like, artists can make the argument with an advance that, okay, well, you don't know which release is going to take off, and paying $50 a year per release can get expensive, and you might not be making any money from those releases to get an advance from. But with this current structure where you could put out a bunch of releases and have all of those releases generating revenue for you and get advances based on the collective revenue generated by your entire catalog, that makes that advance even more valuable, I would say. You know? And it's like for the artists that be doing stuff like releasing a song and like a radio edit of that song and an instrumental version of that song, like this is great for that too, to be able to put out multiple versions of a release. Zopay, man, I'm so sold on CD Baby. I've made good money with them, even though they take 9%. They have been really good to me as far as license and content ID. I would hate to switch. I mean, if you're happy where you are, you know, you don't need to switch, right? It's like Tunecore gives you 100% of your revenue. So if you do the math and you feel like that 100% is better than sacrificing that 9, then yeah, it makes sense. If it's like a wash, then hey, it's whatever. You know, it's all about what makes the most financial sense for you. What tools they give that CD Baby don't give. And you say, okay, well, do I need these tools? Do I want these tools? Right? And you make your decision based off of those things. If you want advances and stuff like that, you might go with Tunecore. If you don't care about advances, that's not something that's real for you, then you could stay with CD Baby. It's all about kind of like looking at what it is you're doing, what you value, what you want, things of that nature, and making a decision based on those things. It ain't just these guys are better than those guys. It's what you need. What do you want? You know, that's what kind of decides it, because not everybody is dependent on digital distribution. You got artists like K-Drama, who makes a lot of bread, man, performing. He does a lot of live performances, man. So it's like for him, it's not like digital distribution is rocking his world to a great extent. So you got a lot of artists like that are selling physical products, touring, things of that nature, where it's like, yo, digital distribution is just like, hey, I want my music available to people because that's what keeps the train going, keeps people booking, paying for concert tickets and buying merch, but they're not like, hey, I need this thing, you know? So it's like, it could be anything as long as the music is in stores. So it's all about the particular situation you got going on. Normalized Audio says Tunecore got some new magic beans. Looks like all open mic spots are closed. The best open mic might be going live on YouTube. I mean, yeah, YouTube is cool too, man. You know, for live performances, it's just the fact of the matter of getting people to come and watch. So it's like you go to an open mic, yeah, most open mics is just a sword fest, you know, hip hop open mics anyway. You know, you go to an R&B open mic, it might be some ladies in there, but you know, the hip hop open mics be a sword fest, man. You know, and it just be a bunch of dudes in there, but y'all all y'all are all colleagues, right? Y'all all do hip hop, y'all all love the culture, and it's kind of like, who was it? Was it the guy Nirvana? You know, the guy from Nirvana that was like, you know, the only people who really love music are the people who do it, right? The people who make it. And I could say that that's true. I mean, I don't know if y'all agree, but I agree. Not from the standpoint of people who make it professionally, but everybody that I know that really loves music has at least tried to make music at some point. Like they might write rhymes in the privacy of their home. They wouldn't go out and like into battles and stuff like that because they don't feel that confident about their skills, but they'd be writing rhymes at home. They'd be trying to make beats. They'd be trying to play instruments because like they genuinely love the music. You know, Kurt Cobain, he was the one that said that, right? They genuinely love the music. So it's like going to the open mics and the showcases and only be the artists there for the most part because the artists are the only ones that love it enough to just be like, hey, I'm just here to hear it. You know, I don't care if you're famous or what. Can you spit, right? Can you sing? You know, I enjoy music. And those people are people who, if you're good, they say, hey, man, we should work together. And that's how a lot of these collectives form and these friendships form. Somebody goes up, they do their thing, they come down. Other people be like, yo, that was fly. They go up, they do their thing. They say, oh, man, that was hot. Then they say, yo, man, we should do something together. Then they start working together. Then they come and they perform a song that they did together and other people hear it. And then one might go on to do something, get signed or something like that. And a lot of times they'll pull the other guy up and be like, yo, man, I remember that guy. He was nasty. Yo, come on. You know, and that's how those bonds form. And that's how people be having these things. Like if you look at like something like basketball with the NBA where people that are like in the NBA now and like stars, they be like, yeah, I used to roommate with this guy and me and this guy used to play against each other back in high school and AAU. Like this is like not the major leagues, but like this is like the rookie leagues and the basically like the starter leagues for music, the open mics and the showcases and stuff like that, man, where artists kind of meet each other and get to form bonds and grow and stuff like that, man. And I mean, you don't get that with YouTube, right? Like if you jump on YouTube and do a live, there is nobody there. There is no camaraderie there. You got to go and find people to watch you on YouTube. So that's where, you know, things can kind of be funny, right? Because it's like, well, damn, how do I get people to watch my YouTube live? But it's like, I mean, yeah, it can be a challenge, man. But that's where having a fan base comes in play, and also kind of communicating with your fans and having that relationship with them to where you can go to Instagram and be like, hey, y'all, I'm about to go on YouTube and perform live. Come and watch me, and they'll come, because it's not just like, hey, I don't really know you and I'm not really that into you. You know, it's like these people want to support you. So it's easier to do it when you got that kind of relationship with the people who are into you. Are you a manager to any artists? Clevo Mac, are you a manager to any artist? I'm not a manager, you know. I am more of a consultant. So it's like I've kind of like managed artists, but not as a manager, you know, because I don't want to take on that responsibility. So for me, it's just always been having conversations, advising, here's what I think you should do, here's the platforms that I think will work, assisting, you know, helping set them up on certain platforms, helping with designs and graphics and constructing websites and helping them with their infrastructure and saying, here's what I think, you know, how all of the pieces should fit together, things of that nature, right? Like that's what I've kind of helped artists do, and not taking no management, because like I said again, I don't want that responsibility. And I also like the idea of artists being free, because a lot of times when you give people a piece of you early on, that deters other people from coming to the party. So there might be somebody that can help somebody more than I can help them. And then it's like, well, they look and they say, well, damn, you already giving this guy 15%. So why am I, you know, you ain't going to want to give away 30%. So then that kind of compromises things, man. That's like you watch some of these companies go on Shark Tank and they gave away equity to all of these people that they got investments from before they got there. And then it's like the sharks are like, we want to give you X amount of money for this percentage. And they're like, oh, can't do that because I gave percentages to these people. And they're looking at them like, well, get out of here then. You know, we can't even get what we want from you. So it's like, it's better to just be free and have the ability to just go wherever you want to go. You know, like with me and my relationships with artists, it's just like it's an honor system, man. You know, like you take care of me, I take care of you, you know, and we don't have to have a situation where you're like, well, here's a contract and I'm signing over 15%. I would be okay if an artist was like, all right, well, I'll give you a percentage of sales, like split pay with these digital distributors and stuff like that. That would be cool, you know, and I would help and things of that nature. Like there's different ways to go about it, man, you know. But yeah, that's the lane I prefer to be in. Tabitha, Ayo Dizzy, question: do you know what that recording location means on a professional option? Record and location. I'm not sure. I probably got to dig into that, man. When I upload these videos and just really go into the details of the distributor and what these things mean and all of that other stuff, that's what those reviews are for. Hi, Gift. Do they still pay out weekly? I'm not. The payouts, I'm not sure. Again, you know, whatever the payouts were, the payouts should still be the same. I don't think they'll change. Like I just said, you know, I got to go through it more. So it's like we just operate. It's all new. So they just made this announcement yesterday. So a lot of this stuff is probably going to continue to be updated. They got to change a lot of the language and their terms and stuff like that to update a lot of that stuff. So it's going to be a little while before everything gets updated and we really know what's what, maybe like a week or so. Word, my guy says, so is it possible to remove all releases from Distrokid to release with Tunecore? Yeah, it's possible. All you would have to do is take your ISRC codes and your UPC codes and move them over. Like you would take those, go re-upload the release to Tunecore, and then go to Distrokid and click to have them removed from stores. It's as simple as that. I can't even pronounce homie name, but it's all good. He said, I suppose you can't use that $15 plan if you were moving from another distributor. It says you can't use your own existing ISRC codes. I don't think it says you can't use your ISRC codes with the $15 plan. Let me see. Let me see, as my son would say. Hold on, let's check and see if what he's saying is true, because I don't think that's true. Pricing, and you see, let's see, use your own ISRC codes. Nah, you can't. Use your own ISRC codes, not available on the $15 a year plan. So you gotta be on the breakout artist plan in order to move your releases over to Tunecore. So if you're moving your releases over, then you have to be on the $30 a year plan. So it's $30 a year if you wanna if you have to transport releases from one distributor to another, which I would say still isn't bad considering the fact that, you know, Distrokid charges you $36 a year for less than what you're getting from Tunecore for $30 a year. So it still works out to a better deal, right? With no extra fee for Content ID or store maximizer or anything like that. Store automator, Tunecore calls it. So, I mean, yeah, you have to pay more if you are moving releases from another distributor to Tunecore, but it's still cheaper than Distrokid and better. Frappuccino says it makes sense to just spend the $50 anyways and be in a label instead of an artist. I mean, it comes with a lot more perks, you know. I mean, the label plan is effectively what's this called? United Masters plan is. You know, United Masters charge what, like $60 a year? So their label plan is effectively United Masters plan or Amuse. Amuse also charges, I think, $60 a year or something like that. So does Lander. Lander charges $60 a year as well. So a lot of these distributors, Lander, United Masters, they all charge $60 a year. And, you know, Tunecore is a better distributor. So, I mean, it makes sense, you know, if you're going to go the way of doing unlimited distribution and just pick the label plan just in case, right? To say, well, who knows? Maybe I will be distributing for other artists. And that's another thing, too. As an artist, I mean, you could to some extent, right? And this is where we're taking on the business cap, because it's like you can operate as a label without being a label, you know, with this digital distribution space. I prefer not to, because I don't, like I said, again, I don't want the headache. But for those who are fine with it, great. Because as an artist, and you coming from an area and you got a whole bunch of other people who are doing music, and you know how some artists can be. A lot of artists aren't going to be sitting down watching these types of videos. They more, hey, let's go to the studio, let's make music. And that's all they want to do is make music. They don't care about the paperwork or anything like that. I got a lot of friends that are like that, man. Anything in any way, in any regard to business, they're like, you handle it. I don't care. You know, I trust you to take care of me. You do it, right? And it's like, that's how a lot of artists are. So if you're the artist in your community or in your circle that is the one that is willing to go out there and consume the business stuff, then you can be the one to go and sign up for Tunecore with a label account and then just pay the additional $15 a year to distribute to them and charge them $20 a year, or take a percentage of the revenue that they generate for the releases, whatever you decide to work out. But you can do that. That's an option for an artist that kind of has more of a business head on to take on that responsibility. Now, you know, we know as artists, man, artists can kind of be crazy with, hey, I don't, yo, where's my money? I think I got a stream yesterday. How much am I supposed to get? You know, my cousin said they bought my download. You know, I don't see it in my report. You ain't paid me, and all of that kind of stuff. If you want to deal with that, great. Clevo Max says, what are the best ways to market your music without performing? Oh, man, tough question. I mean, when it comes to marketing music, man, I mean, it's the music. You know, like everything kind of starts from community. You know, it starts from community, right? It starts from the standpoint that you have friends and family and stuff like that. Like, marketing music becomes really challenging the older you are and the more reclusive you are, you know? So it's like, not everybody is the same, right? Like, people who are outgoing, extroverts, people who play sports and stuff like that, and they go to parties and they got a bunch of friends, like, marketing music is easy for those people because they tend to make the kind of music that fits the lifestyle that they live, which fits the lifestyle of the people that they hang out with, you know? So it's like somebody like Yeah, like not even, because y'all might not remember him, but Tracy Lee, an old rapper who made a song called It's Party Time. College, you know, hey, we going to parties at college, right? So it's like I take this record and I give it to my friends who are also college kids, and you know, we all rock with this song and we share it. You know, you're in high school, you got certain friends and y'all all blaze, y'all all get high. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna make a song about getting high and give it to my friends who burn, and they're gonna be like, oh, that shit is hot, son. Like, yo, you heard what he said? He talked about you roll up the papers, like, you know, it's and people who are in those networks and communities where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna make music that feeds my community. It's easy because you just make something and you give it to them, and then they say, oh, first off, you're their homeboys, so they're gonna be excited about it from that standpoint, and then it just spreads. And one person shares it with another person that shares it with another person, and then it just grows and grows and grows and grows. But when an artist doesn't have that foundation and they don't have that community and they don't make music that kind of like feeds into what they're around, you know, like you got some people who are around people who are hood cultured, right? Like they into listening to people talk about the life, the drugs, the guns, you know, the shake that ass, strip clubs type of stuff, but they're intellectuals. You know what I'm saying? They reading books and they're writing songs about poetry type songs, you know, socially conscious, and they take that and give it to their friends, and their friends are like, yo, what the hell is this, man? I ain't trying to listen to that, man. So then those people have to find a community, and it can become challenging for them. And it can also be challenging for people who are kind of like me. I was more reclusive. I wasn't somebody who was like running around and collecting friends and, you know, all of that different type of stuff. I had friends, but, you know, I wasn't that type of person. My brother was like that. So I had the friends that he had, but me, I would keep to myself. And it's like when you're like that, then, you know, you aren't as close to your cousins. So it's like you don't have that support where you're going to put something out and they're going to be like, yo, my cousin got something, and they're going to support you, right? You don't have those friends that you could just give it to and they're going to support you. So it's you, effectively. You have to go out there and push yourself, right? And that can be the challenge, you know? So then it becomes a matter of the style of music you do and laying a framework together from the standpoint of, okay, well, what kind of marketing strategy would fit the style of music you do? You know? Frappuccino, the real game changer is Tunecore adding split pay. They really beat the competition with that. I mean, yeah, they used to not have that. So adding that was real cool, man. John Alexander was good. Good to see you in the building, brother. Louis Awa, what up? How about Koji? Do we need a distributor nowadays? I mean, the whole thing is the music kind of like fuels the fire to a great extent. I mean, depending on your personality, because if you are a social media personality, then you can just be on social media doing stuff and push yourself and develop a fan base, and then just move into being a creator where you just monetize your social media platforms and charge people for appearances or to talk to you or stuff like that because they're just fans, you know. But if you're not like a personality and you are a musician or a singer and you're making songs and everything kind of moves through your songs, then it becomes a different kind of thing. You know, you need those platforms. You need Spotify. It's like the new radio, because that's how your music is going to reach music fans. You know, like Instagram and stuff like that, that's not really music fans. That's people who are just there to consume content, right? Like people are on Instagram to just be entertained by whatever. It could be news about disasters. It could be gossip. It could be family. It could be anything. They're just there to be entertained. They're not necessarily music fans. So they're not people who are going to be going to concerts or buying merch from an artist or buying digital downloads or anything to that effect. They just want to be entertained. And that's also why it'd be difficult for people to get people to YouTube to like watch a live performance, because it's like those people who are on Instagram don't really care to like hear your music like that. They just are like, oh, okay, well, if you're doing stuff that's funny in the feed while I'm on Instagram scrolling, I watch you, but I'm not leaving here to go watch you anywhere else. So it's like, yeah, Koji and all of those things are great, but it's for a particular type of artist and person. You know, it's not something that lends itself to everybody. 1033 Puncho. What up, brother, man? Good to see you in the building, man. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this Tunecore news changes a lot, right? Because of that fact that it's like you can't really beat $15 a year for unlimited distribution. And even the $30 a year plan still can't beat that with a lot of these distributors that are doing like services that are comparable are charging like $60 a year. So it's like the $30, they really like did their research in regards to the competition to come in significantly under what everybody was charging. So it's like looking at, okay, $30 a year. All right, that's more expensive than $15 a year, but it's cheaper than what everybody else is charging still, you know? So it's like, yeah, man, that $30 a year plan, that $50 a year plan, those are great plans, man. And it's for a service that is great service. Like I said, again, they have those pre-order, the pre-order feature is really great too. For those artists that can still sell music, like digital downloads, not like getting people to stream, but get people to actually buy your music. Because that pre-order thing, they have this one feature that allows you to charge less for the pre-order than you do for the release when it actually comes out, which can work to incentivize people to buy the release in advance. So if the release is going to be $10 when it drops next month, but I can get it from you for $5 now if I pre-order it, then yeah, I'll buy now. Most people will buy now. So all of the sales you might have got when the release dropped that'll trickle in, that would have trickled in over time, you could compress into like that first week, you know, everybody trying to get that discounted rate and maybe even chart, you know, because it's like it's not that difficult to chart on iTunes nowadays because not a lot of people buy music. And even the major artists aren't selling a lot of releases like that. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, STEM, Town, Tovan says, was hesitating releasing my new EP on STEM. I mean, STEM, I don't trust because they came out and they had like, you know, distribution, just take a percentage of the revenue that you make. And when they decided to change their pricing and their whole infrastructure, it wasn't a nice way that they did it. It wasn't like, okay, well, we're gonna like grandfather anything over. They just kicked people off. It was like, yo, get out. Take your bags. We're throwing it out the window. Go someplace else. You know, we've worked out a deal with Tunecore or whoever where they'll allow you to move over for a discounted rate, but it was still expensive. So basically with STEM, when they kicked people off, it was like because people were releasing music and only paying a percentage and didn't have to pay for every release, they were just going crazy and putting up a bunch of releases. So people had like 20, 30, 50, 100 releases to move from STEM. Now, if you are doing one release, two release, Tunecore, CD Baby, something like that, you could move there because you could say, okay, $50, all right, that's about $100, you know, I got these releases. But when you got that many releases, paying $50 per release is way too much. So the people who got kicked off STEM was basically handicapped. They could only go to Distrokid or to 1RPM or another distributor that was just taking a percentage of revenue or just charging like a really cheap annual fee, like $20 a year or something like that, because they couldn't afford to go anywhere else. So it was just really messed up, man, what they did. And after that, I just can't trust them, yo. I can't use them. Word, yo. But I'm going to get on up out of here, good people, man. I appreciate y'all taking the time to rock with me. You know, I want to rock with you. All of that good stuff, man. You know, if you haven't watched the Tunecore video, watch it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That always helps. Also like the video. Again, that always helps with the algorithm. You get super chat, super thanks, donate to the channel, support in any way you can. Always much appreciated. All right, good people. As always, y'all can hit me up at PayUsNoMind on Instagram, at PayUsNoMind on Twitter, PayUsNoMind@gmail.com. This is Gift signing off. Pay us no mind. Peace, good people. One. Do 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 do. Yeah.